Right, hello and welcome to the Benelli Rider YouTube channel. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing the 502C. I've had this bike now, it's a long-term test. The difference between the test that I'm going to do and the test that a lot of the other motorcycle testers that test lots and lots of different types of bikes, the difference between me and them is this is my actual personal bike. So this is going to be a long-term test. We've done a lot of introductory bits, so if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and go and have a look when you finish watching this video at the other videos that I've made. There's some on fuel economy, performance, top speed, all that sort of stuff. So first of all, the Benelli 502 is a 500cc parallel twin. It produces 47 brake horsepower and 45 newton meters of torque, which is pretty linear across the rev range. It's got a really nice top end on it, so it screams as well as it's a little bit of a thumper. So low down in the revs, it's got a nice thumpy twin feel to it. When it gets up towards the top end, it actually, believe it or not, sounds a little bit like a Triumph, a triple, and it really does scream along. Fantastic little engine. Start looking at the top end here now, so we're going to look at the mirrors. The mirrors are really, really good. The shape of them has been well thought out. So the mirrors have got a nice big circular part in the inside, and then they taper out to like a point. The great thing with this is you get a little bit more of a wide angle view than you would normally get with a round mirror or like an oblong mirror. So really good idea. That the other good thing is you don't get any mirror shake. They're really, really well made, these, and we don't get any vibration, so the actual view behind you is really clear even at very high speeds. Moving down from that, the actual switch gear, so the throttle, the actual switch gear itself, so the on-off switch, it's actually got independent hazard lights, which is really nice on a motorcycle, and you've got the start button slightly below it there. It's actually not fly-by-wire. We're hoping that the 800, so the 800C will be coming out hopefully sometimes towards the end of this year or sometime early next year, and that will be fly-by-wire, and it will hopefully have different rider modes on it. This one just has the one rider mode on it. What we're going to do is now we're going to have a look at the LCD screen. The LCD screen, as you can see, is really nice and clear. It's got a lovely bright background to it. The only downside with LCD screens, and it doesn't matter which motor manufacturer it is if the sunlight catches it, it's very difficult to see what speed you're going and what's actually going on the LCD. A great way of combating this is by fitting an aftermarket screen. One of those is winging its way to me right now from Italy, so hopefully that should cure that little problem. The LCD screen includes a fuel gauge, a rev gauge, a gear counter, which is fantastic because it's actually a prominent part of the actual display itself, so you always know what gear you're in. Good, high quality, really, really fantastic. Very impressed with that. We've got the clutch lever and the brake lever. On this model itself, which is a late 2019 model, early 2020 model, you've only got span adjuster on the brakes. The clutch lever does not have a span adjuster on it. The more modern ones, which are the 21s and 22 model bikes, have a span adjuster on both the clutch and the brake, because it does make it a big difference being able to actually adjust the span for your actual span, and it makes the bike a lot more comfortable to ride. The engine is very responsive from the throttle. It's really the actual mapping on the engine is really, really good, because if you're running it on 3,500-4,000 revs on a flat throttle, it stays there, it doesn't jump about, so there's no searching. So it's a really good town bike, nice and easy to maneuver at low speeds. The engine's nice and low, so it's got a good low centre of gravity, and also the seat height's very low on it, which is very good for people that are vertically challenged, very much like myself. Now we'll move on to the tank. 21 litre tank, which is a big tank for a 500cc bike. The advantage for this, along with the fantastic fuel economy that the bike displaces, is the fact that you can get over 300 miles to a tank of fuel, and that is easy. If you're going on a steady run and you're going to run at 55-60 miles an hour, I reckon you'll do the best part of 400 miles to a tank of fuel, which is awesome. That's a long way to go before you get off to refuel. Looking at the aesthetics of the bike, this one actually came with these fitted as standard, so these are crash protectors, and I think they just look really, really smart. As we can see, we've got the radiator, so it's a liquid cooled engine. Now moving on to the front now. we're going to move on to these lovely, great, big, fat, upside-down forks, which control the bike fantastically. They're really nice over the bumps, soak up the bumps really well, but the handling on the handling that these provide for the CC of bike and for the price point of the bike is just absolutely phenomenal. It's actually a really, we'll get on to this point in a bit of the actual price of the bike and the amazing price that they've managed to do this for. So we've got the upside down forks. We're coming down now. These are Brembo made brakes, but they're made for Benelli. It's quite obvious that these are Brembos, you can tell just by looking at them, and they're fitted radially, so the brakes are really, really good. As I was mentioning before about other reviewers who only have the bike for a few hours or a couple of days, the difference that it makes is, now I've run this bike in myself, I know for a fact these brakes are really powerful. When I first got it, they weren't, and it took a good 250-300 miles to bed the brakes in. Once they've bedded in, the brakes now are phenomenal. You literally just touch the lever and they're biting instantly. Moving on again to the rubber. Some absolutely fantastic rubber. We've got Pirelli Angels on here, Pirelli Angel ST, so these are sports touring tyres. They grip the road fantastic, and as you can see by the chicken lines on these, you can lean this bike right over. Right, so now what we're going to do is going to move on to the headlamp. The headlamp, I think, is probably one of the strangest but the most striking and one of the best features of the bike for me. I just think it looks absolutely awesome. At night time, obviously you can't see here, so what I'll do is I'll put a couple of little clips in over the top of this where you can actually see the light at night time. This headlamp is like the screaming mask. You've got twin headlights at the top, so when you put it on full beam, it actually looks like two eyes and a mouth. Just absolutely out of this world stunning. And you've also got this outside piece here is a DRL, so it's a daytime running light, so that's on all the time. So when it gets to like night time, you've got this lovely outside shape of it, and then you've got the two eyes and the mouth if you've got it on full beam. Just absolutely stunning. Right the way around the motorcycle front and back, we've got very, very, very bright LED indicators. They really are bright, very, very bright at night time. And also you'll notice this is just one of the other accessories that I've fitted that I find really, really enhances the actual bike, and probably nearly any bike you could ever ride, is the handguards. Not necessarily, because obviously handguards are designed for going through trees so you don't actually get your hands battered, but these keep the wind off, so they serve a fantastic purpose for a street bike as well. And that's what these do in the early mornings when you've got that little bit of a nip in the air. It just means that you can still wear your summer gloves and ride in perfect comfort. Right, what I'd like to say again about the aesthetics of the bike is, and also the build quality. The build quality of this motorcycle for its price point is just beyond belief, absolutely beyond belief. You've got that beautiful trestle frame there, very, very Ducati-ish. The welds are fantastic on it. It's nice and it's solid. There is no less rigidity in this motorcycle than there is in an aluminium frame motorcycle. You'll see that the pegs are set forward. Great thing for this is really nice and comfortable. It's one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden in my life. The reason being is you've got those lovely wide handlebars. Now normally you would probably think that these wide handlebars would be uncomfortable. Nothing further from the truth. These are so comfortable and so ergonomic, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Just absolutely. We've got, look at the details. We've got proper bungs and covers to cover the actual joins in the frame itself. You can see they've got proper rubber bungs in them. We've got a lovely engine case in there, and then we've got a fantastic protector that comes with the bike. Normally you would have to spend 50, 60 or 70 pounds on that just for the protector. Comes with the bike. All this carbon look frame covers all come with the bike. They're not an extra that you have to buy. And as I said, when we're going to talk about the price point of the bike later on, it's just another one of those things that just knocks it out of the ballpark. It really, really does. We have got a pillion seat, so moving along here, we've got a nice dip seat, really, really comfortable, very supportive for your back, very supportive for your lower back, so it's got really good lumbar support on this. The only downside I would say is it's not really a bike for passengers. As you can see, this has got a tiny little seat on it, and also the pegs are quite high, so it's not a very comfortable bike for a pillion passenger, unless you're probably taking one of your kids, or maybe your partner's quite small. Then yeah, perfectly fine. Moving back again, we've got a massive chain. The chain is what I would consider, for a 500cc motorcycle, I would say that personally that chain is over engineered, and the chain has only been adjusted once, which was at the service at 500 miles, and after that it's been not needed any adjustment whatsoever. Moving round again a little bit more about the aesthetics of the bike. Just point one couple of little bits out to you first. As you can see, it lights up Benelli there, and then you've got your brake lights mounted in to the actual back seat pod itself, and the up, instead of them being across, which I like, you've got your indicators, as you can see. I personally think they're a little bit too close together here. These would have been better if they were sat flat and sticky out a little bit more. That's just my personal preference. As you can see, we've got a nice piece that comes out here. This actually does keep a lot of the mud and what have you from being flung out from the back of the bike. This is a love-hate thing, I think. Some people hate these things. I love them. I think it makes the bike, it makes it look like when you're riding it as if you're floating in air, on air. It looks a bit Star Wars-ish, if you know what I mean. Another fantastic thing that comes with this bike, which you will not get on any other motorcycle that comes as manufacturer, you'll pay 2 or 2.5 times the price of this for a Kawasaki or a Ducati or a Yamaha or most of the other Japanese or European bikes. But look what comes with it as standard: a beautiful lugger made. It's plain black on the outside, and it's got like a carbon fibre piece in the middle, and that moulds into the chain guard. And I just think that's the sort of little touch that makes a massive difference when you actually come to buy a motorbike. And to get it again, I'm saying probably this for the 6th or 7th time, for the price point of the bike, is just absolutely unbelievable. Moving along, this is something that I've put on. This is the Leo Vince twin shotgun exhaust system that I've put on it. As you can see, it's nice and neat. It's black, so it fits in with the rest of the bike. It's got that menacing look about it. Really, really nice. Just to finish off over here, as we said on the other side, this clutch cover, the actual protector on this clutch cover, if you wanted one of these, if it was for any other type of bike, you'd be forking out 60, 70, 80 quid for that piece of plastic there, whereas it comes for free on this one as part of the bike. All these little inlays, these little touches, where they've actually boxed the frame in with different bits to make it look I just think it looks absolutely out of this world. I really do. And that, lads and lasses, is the walk round of the Benelli 502C.
Tell you what, Dave, you've opened my eyes there. It's a fucking good bike for its money, that is, isn't it? You know, seriously, I mean, I've just looked at it, but now, when you do look at it proper, it's a fucking good bike, that, for the money, isn't it? Seriously.
When you think of how much that bike costs.
I mean, I've just looked at this, mate, this welding here, it's fucking spot on, that, you know, that's lovely, that. Yeah. That's what I've always liked about Ducatis. Not all that, except the welding quality. I mean, you look at a jack bike with that box fucking, what's it, crap in it?
Yeah. That aluminium box stuff.
Yeah.
It's the welding line.
It's like you say, I mean, whether that's real or not, it's not in there, but it doesn't matter, it looks fucking, and the thing is, it won't cost that much to replace it, should you mark it, should it? So,
well, the way that I look at it, Roy, is you're looking at, if you bought that and that was a Kawasaki,
yeah,
that would be 13 or 14,000 quid.
With all them bits on it?
With all them bits on it, you're looking at 13 or 14,000 quid.
Yeah.
That, brand new today, off the showroom floor with 0 miles on it, and the 800 when it comes in, that's going to be about 7274. 7274 for an 800cc model of that. Which obviously, when that comes, it's going to have better suspension on it, because they're building, aren't they, all the time, like Royal Enfield, they're building the reputation.
But what I will say though is, you were talking about that 800. I think you might end up going the wrong way buying that, you know, because this will probably end up being a more involving ride than that 800, because that'll be just like getting onto the bigger bikes where you're doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
You're just cruising along.
Yeah.
I think this, like for you, this will be a more involving ride.
Yeah.
But like you say, I've got to say, Dave, seriously, when you're walking around and you're pointing these bits out and what have you, I mean, that's a shame, isn't it? That there, that Benelli thing that's on there, that's behind the number plate. That's a bit of a shame. But,
yeah, because it's hidden.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you could drop the number plate down and see it. But there again, you're covering that reflection.
Well, it's held on with 3 bolts. So